Stephanie Jaworski of joybaking.com. Today we're going to make chocolate fudge. This is a really simple and easy fudge to make. You only need 5 ingredients and there's no candy thermometer involved, and it is so delicious. So the first thing we need to do is line our pan with a piece of aluminum foil. Now you can use either an 8 or a 9-inch square pan. That's 20 or 23 centimeters. And I'll just show you how I line it with foil. First I take my pan, I turn it upside down, and then I take my piece of aluminum foil and then just press it into the shape of the pan as best as you can. And then see, it forms the shape of the pan. And just turn your pan over and fit it in. I find this much easier than just taking the piece of foil and just trying to stick it in. And if you don't have foil, you could take 2 pieces of wax paper, one this way and one this way, and then just kind of use it as a sling. Because what we want to do is once the chocolate fudge has set, we want to be able to lift it out of the pan so we can cut it easier. So you want to have a little overhang like I have here. Okay, simple enough. And then we will need 1.5 cups, that's 360 milliliters of nuts, and they need to be chopped. And you could use one type of nut, or you could use, like I'm using here, I have some hazelnuts, pistachios, and almonds. You could use pecans, you could use walnuts, peanuts. You could even use some dried fruit, like sometimes I like to use chocolate-coated covered raisins. Or you could use cranberries if you want to kind of use pistachios and cranberries and have it for Christmas. So, and if you want to toast the nuts, just put them on a baking sheet and pop them in the oven at about 350 Fahrenheit, which is 180 degrees Celsius, for about 8-10 minutes, just until they get, you can start to smell the nut, and then just let them cool and chop them coarsely. We want them nice and coarsely chopped. So once you have that, and then you will need put a saucepan, a couple of inches of water, 1 to 2 inches of water, 3 to 5 centimeters, and just bring that up to a simmer. And then you will need a heat-proof bowl, and you want it big enough so it just kind of sits on top of your pot. And you need 1 pound, which is 450 grams of, really good quality, either semi-sweet or bittersweet chocolate. You want to use a chocolate that you enjoy just eating by itself. And then we want it pretty finely chopped, because we want it to melt, it'll melt a lot faster and easier if you kind of finely chop. You can do it by hand, which I have done, or you could just put it in your food processor and process until finely ground. And then to that, we're going to add 2 tablespoons of butter, and just chop it up a little, because again, it'll melt easier if we put it into smaller pieces. And then you will need 1 14-ounce can, which is about 400 grams, of sweetened condensed milk. Now, sweetened condensed milk is a really thick and sticky and very sweet milk. And it is a mixture of whole milk and sugar that has been cooked until about, 60% of the water has been removed. And it really is a ready-made concentrated sugar syrup. And that's, so it's going to give a really nice flavor and texture to our fudge. Now, if you took the sweetened condensed milk and cooked it even longer, what would happen is it would turn a really, really thick and caramel colored, and it would become dulce de leche, or caramel flavored cream, which is really good too. So just kind of mix that together. This is a really nice fudge to make for the holiday season because it's really easy. And you can store it, you can freeze it in the, if you don't want to store it in the fridge, you can freeze it. So it's one of those things we can make well ahead of time. So then just put it over a saucepan of barely simmering water. We want this to melt very slowly because we don't want our fudge to be grainy. So just let it melt until it's all nice and smooth. Okay, looks good. Turn off the heat and just give it a quick stir. This can take, maybe even 5 minutes because you want to do it very slowly. And then you get a nice, smooth and creamy, thick fudge. It's just gorgeous. So now what we're going to do is add 2 teaspoons of pure vanilla extract. And if you wanted, you could even add a little bit of coffee to this, if you wanted a little coffee flavor instead of the vanilla, or in addition to the vanilla. And then I'm going to just fold in my nuts. You could even vary the amount of nuts, more or less, depending on how you like it. It's kind of like, I think of this as making like a homemade chocolate bar, really. Okay, simple enough. And then we're just going to pour it, into our pan. And then with the back of a spoon, or just using one of these little offset spatulas, just kind of smooth it out here. Make it as level as you can. Like I said, this is really thick pieces. If you wanted a thinner fudge, you could just use a bigger pan. If you want to get more smaller, not as thick squares, you could even use like a 9 by 12 if you wanted to. Really adaptable recipe here. Okay. So that's that. Now, we do need to let this cool and to set until it's firm. So that could take even a couple hours. And once that's done, then I'll show you how to cut it into pieces. So our chocolate fudge has now cooled to room temperature, and as you can see, as I press it, it's quite firm. This usually takes like several hours. So now to remove from the pan, just grab the sides of the aluminum foil and just lift it out. And then place it on a cutting board. And then just peel back your foil, like so. And then using a sharp knife, as usual, you can cut the fudge into as big or as small pieces as you want. Just use a sharp knife and cut through. And then if your knife is a little dirty, has some chocolate on it, I'm using a paper towel that's just damp, and just wipe that off, because you want a nice clean cut. And see, I'll just wipe it. Like so. Just turn. I like to cut it into fairly small pieces because as fudge always is, it's quite rich. And then just use a knife or a little spatula. Let's cut through here. And then see all the nuts? Looks wonderful. Just kind of melts. It's nice, smooth texture. So just cut the fudge into your pieces. You can cover and store it well wrapped in the refrigerator, probably for up to a week, or for longer storage, you can put it in the freezer. So until next time, I'm Stephanie Jaworski of joybaking.com.